perpetrators of the men or trash movement?
That's a very interesting question. Who was feeling ready to answer 610?
Okay, I'll go.
Because it'll go. Okay, I'll go.
I think before we start, like, let's get it clear. What was the word perpetrator?
Perpetrator meaning
Instigators. Basically, that's what a perpetrator is. Criminal in some sense.
yeah.
So, what's your opinion on that?
My opinion is like with this I feel like we're being generalized. As you said,
That's what I was trying to do with the thing, but they can.
So whenever someone who's like the opposite gender will see a male or a guy, firstly in their mind, like, oh, should think it's okay, cool, bye, fine, they're the same. When I'm walking past, like whenever I'm walking past a lady, I'll always get that vibe, real witty. She's probably gonna think that I'm gonna ask her out, or I'm gonna stop her, or.
And your thought process when saying what is like.
You know, like it's sometimes it feels work for me, in my sense, because that's not my intentions most of the time. Yeah.
It's like a sixth sense to sexually objectify a woman by a woman.
Exactly.
Without even knowing that you're doing that.
I can't even stop a lady and ask her for a favor or ask her for even something simple as
But
directions.
you understand what actually takes that off though in your body? It gives you the sense of saying this lady may seem as if a model or if it isn't doing a boom board. Because you're a man and she's female, what comes with something called what's my hormones?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So then the thing is when it goes to that's it. Having a sense of thought or feeling, just now. I don't blame guys for thinking like that because of elegance and naturally. Someone has a sense of saying when you first approach her, the way you talk now, if you do talk now, depends on what's come up from inside or from the side of saying to book or what. But we should talk about fun. But
so this thing of men and trash guys, like it's not just when this has happened. Yeah, actually. There's actually like a problem and it can be done in different ways. For instance, like I think sometimes it's us chicks. We like we don't want to at the same time from fair at the same time. And then this was a member who's a business manager. I think that's why like it's okay, men are trash. They cheat too much. And last year we've seen rape in Kuda. Like and then those victims, they don't call Labobantu. They don't use the hashtag men are trash. It's those ones who have been cheated on, like misused, like who got damned, you know. I don't think the husband and so so I'm saying like this hashtag men are trash, if really it's not like
So basically, if we can look at what the cause of women calling men are trash, then you'll see how to solve the problem of why men are trash. So I'll let you speak.
Yeah.
So if we're saying men are trash, then we have to look that we have Women's Day, we have Youth Day, we have celebrating men. But in all those celebrations, we are celebrating. In men, we are not celebrating men, we're actually celebrating women. But it's a men's day. But yet, we are talking about abuse of women. Let's look why do the woman part call us trash? Because the thing has a cause. Every problem has a cause. Every calling has a cause. So if you are saying men are trash, then what causes men to be trash? I think we have to look at that in an
expectations that's fulfilled at some point.
Yeah, like I think what causes men to be trash, all we call trash is from growing up, we're shaped as guys. You need to have a girlfriend, or you need to, like, you can't be afraid. Like, you can't be a guy who's afraid to approach a lady and ask her out. You know, growing up in Okshin, it was a thing, go to okay, cool, no, wait to Assam, so she like growing up as a kid, you know, like otherwise you weren't a guy, you were like, well, also, So that thing it like initiated a lot of things. Yeah, bro.
And there's
Um,
oh, sorry.
Yeah, so the first step will be for you as a little boy. We took a cool I'm gonna go ask women out, ladies out, and then once you're done with that step, what will be your next step? You wanna engage sexually. Even if she's not there, and keep in mind we both kids.
Even also when you're not there, there's this pressure
Sure.
from
Sure.
Society.
Yeah.
Society.
Yeah.
It's okay, cool.
And then another thing is just the way we were shaped as kids. Like as guys growing up, we grow up into entitlement, you know. So layer after layer, it makes us seem as perpetrators because you feel like as a man I need this, and that. Layer after layer, the biggest mistake of that is that what you require most of the time is from someone else, and then when you want that, you don't look at the consent that they're gonna give you back. So that's why we've been seen as perpetrators because we're living the rape culture. We grew up in a rape culture. So us being seen as perpetrators, we also have to look at that as guys and sit down and have these conversations like we're doing now as guys. Why are we seen as perpetrators?
Can I drop a point? It's different. We have different views and everything, but when you look at culture, how they did it in the past, they didn't mind like having like 2 wives, 3 wives. It was culture. So now people feel like they can't live with 3 or 4 men. So it becomes hard, and we are groomed to have like many women in our lives. In culture, then we feel peer pressure. Lo ubaba baba ko yiso ewodabuka no shimile ufunze ba. So as men and pressure yabakhona, and as men is the ego, so as we feel as weak, so we try to dominate and like I said to Anna, normally Anna isn't using the same face side. Let me talk about the rape side. So I said to Anna, okay, over in Dombazani. If you're you don't sleep in Dombazani, the next day, he posts to Anna, doesn't find what to show Anna, home team. Yeah, home team. How do you know what's on the woman team? Well, also to know, and I was it's just playing hard to get or win time. So
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
so I would say I'm not united.
Very good point. And you wanted to say something, my friend?
But I think it's communication. We don't communicate as Amachita with our girlfriends or our partners, that especially when it comes to sexual intercourse. We just want to be satisfied, and then it's all to satisfy and another satisfied. And then if sometimes we shy in it, guys what's now feeling agreed, then communicating to improve that situation, and then to comment on a part.
I mean, I feel like it's hard to go out with it. But the Bible says we sin by mind. Someone in Ramazan, there was we undress away. And and then I think like Kala start from Uba Ingan. What's your point? My Ingan, I'm going to go Ingan Ramazan. Yes, there's a thing I see. When Ingan into Mathiompana, yes, I like so. That's why it's on the way. Yeah, on the way to Ramazan. Fast. Yeah, it's fast. Always fast.
Izinto zesintu nanani kanjani, and amajita now, gentlemen now, I have several women. So is it the only men that actually have that sense of having the urge of having 2 people only, or is it also in ladies now? Because mind you, that'll prove a point to us gentlemen too. It's not only in the sense of more hormones that actually entitled to their DNA.
The thing is, living
like you say, you buy Belinzani, it's the mind, Belinzani.
Yeah,
So that doesn't mean only men do that in a sense. But now I'm just trying to understand from everyone's point of view. With you guys and myself asking the question, do you only think men perpetrators or also ladies?
I think both genders are perpetrators.
Yeah.
Okay, now this is where we can find a solution.
But it's more highlighted in men because when you look at times, from back in the day, we have to be honest, like brutally honest about it. Culture and tradition is based on patriarchy.
Yeah.
It's meant to favor men because
Yeah, that's
when you look at that, indaba zamazwe and all that, women are not consulted. Men come together and decide. That's how it's going to be. Yabo? And the woman just has to accept. Because one thing, black men were allowed to vote before women could. Yabo? So you have to look at that sense. So even in the decision making, even when there was racism, there was always sexism. Yabo? So there's always sexism, and it's only now abantu besifazane that they have a voice.
That's obvious.
That's the topic. The topic is men as perpetrators. We're not talking about women. We're talking about ourselves as perpetrators. Why we're seen as perpetrators. Yeah, well, that's the problem with these conversations. That's why we as men can't have these conversations, because we always try and look for an outside source. Yeah, well, every time it gets tough, we don't want to stay in the kitchen and face the heat. Because now we're not supposed to deflect and look at women. Yeah, well, because the only thing we can do, we can talk about women from a guy's perspective.
Yeah.
Can't talk
Dude, come on, speak, brother.
so let's stick to something that we can have 100% back. As a guy, I know this is a fact.
And you can't have 100% answer because it's only gents here.
See, like, and there is no female like to defend themselves.
So
Yeah, that's why.
So everything is going to be like, this is and to get back to your point, the response are you're right. For polygamy. You're right. You Koskazo Oniga into permission. For number one, we are going to cartel, same guy. Ubaba saying na sabithi uyamnika permission. Number two, more abantwana abatholi. Uyamnika permission. Nakhona futhi uyakhethela. Uzothi uthi indoda iyasikhetha.
Sure. Go back to men and perpetrators.
Let's talk about male entitlements to women's bodies.
Yeah.
That's a very nice topic.
It's better.
No, it would link to the story of something now, but it makes it's a very interesting topic.
it's because it stems from what we all brought up. In African cultures, there is extreme patriarchy and misogyny. You know,
Not just in African culture.
No,
I'm saying, okay, I'm talking. I can't talk as a Western person. I can only talk as an African. You know, I can only talk from like a Zulu perspective. And even if my sister might be older and or wiser than me, I am still seen as the future head of my family. Not my sister. You know, that is why men have this sense of entitlement. Sense of entitlement and dominance towards women and towards anything in life.
Anything they be like, I own it. No, it's wrong.
And another thing we don't look at, Abona, when it comes to males being entitled to women's bodies, especially looking at times now, it comes from a point where, like, we have to be realistic. When you walk, it doesn't matter. This is from a man and a woman's perspective. This is probably the only thing I'm sure about. When you go to the shop and you pay for something, you expect to own it, right? And in Gondo, like we were talking about yesterday, it works with repetition, with form. So
sense of habit.
it's a sense of habit. So the more you buy something, you expect, and every time you get to you own something, right? So they take that same mentality when you start paying for things for women. You start to expect things. You start to expect ownership.
So true.
Like that's the honest truth that we don't ignore. That we ignore is that when you pay for something, you expect to own it, and we take that ownership right up until people, which is very wrong.
That's why we
So
say
misunderstanding is communication then.
That's why we
misunderstanding is communication, because if maybe they say there was a 50-50 payment, would you feel entitled to that woman?
No.
There's no sense of entitlement
Because you pay for it, that's why.
And now there's also that whole us being as perpetrators, the system being favoring men. So we believe that we're entitled to a lot of things, and then now once you start paying for something, it adds on to that psychology. When you pay for something,
that's what you're saying. And that's why, like, there's a lot of rape happening in the lesser culture.
It's because we spoke about this. We have such an antiquated view of masculinity. Yeah, you think being masculine is I'm a man. But being masculine is being vulnerable. It's also being sensitive. It's also being able to ask for help when you need it.
Yes.
You know?
Don't be shy.
So having a woman who is slightly intellectual than you, who is slightly earning a bigger paycheck than you, shouldn't
bother you.
It shouldn't like cut up your masculinity, you know, because there are roles as a man that you can play that are different towards what a lady can do. And since maybe she's getting more of a paycheck, then maybe you could say, okay, what can I do
To make it balance
yeah,
out.
to also balance out our life together? You know, there's nothing wrong with men who cook, men who clean. You know, there's nothing wrong with
All the stereotype
men.
shit.
Yeah, all the-
Earning money while I was still in school, you know? And it was a serious relationship at the time, you know? There was no sense of I feel like I'm nagging her, and I wasn't the person who always lives in Telima, you know? But she was making a lot of money. Like she had a good job, she was making a lot of money. So what I did was I helped her with the creative side of her job, which then helped her to earn more money than she was making. Because whenever she had projects and presentations, that's what I do. That's what I'm good at. So whenever we were doing projects and presentations, I'd actually sit with her and do mock-up presentations, show her how to do, show her something new to try, and just try and get her to think different. Like that's in my case. That's what I feel like. You must know what you add to a relationship. When you come into a relationship, the biggest problem with relationships is you don't know what you're bringing to the relationship. You don't know what she's bringing. Because we're just looking and you're like, nice ass, nice body,
Yes.
I want that.
And another thing, if you're faced with that situation where, why am I even call it situation? Like if you happen to date someone who earns more than you know, be aware of what you think about the situation. If it bothers you, you know, accept it bothers you, but also like it's
Make it work.
Yeah, make it work. Like,
I think that's the biggest thing, like that you said.
you know,
accepting
accepting.
situation.
Yeah, but because Tina, as guys, we always push away, isn't that? What does
your perspective on how you see things.
Exactly.
I once heard this guy talk, and he was like, you jealous because they got a better car than you. Oh, you're angry because they're more successful than you. So go to the root of that jealousy and go to the root of anger, and then look at within yourself, and then ask yourself, why don't I have that car? Why aren't I successful? And then work on building those skills.
That's how you're gonna get the answers.
To get you that car that you desire or that job that you want.
Do you guys feel as though social media may have caused any form of effect?
Yes.
Reduce some of
Yes, a lot.
State some points so we can understand where you come from.
I'm coming from.
Okay, first of all, from like sexual objectification, like I was looking, like whenever we talk about shit, like look at women artists and look at male artists. Whenever a male artist is performing and it's hot on stage and then they're shirtless, it's fine, you know? But then whenever a female artist is performing and they've got like a bralette, you know, or a sports bra, all of a sudden they're selling sex. You know, we don't respect their craft. You just say they're selling sex. You know, look at how women have to go the extra mile. I'm talking about artists. Look at how they have to go the extra mile to sell their work by wearing bikinis in videos, twerking, and all of that nonsense. And look at how on social media, for girls to feel like they are contributing, they're always posting like provocative pictures. You know, they're never posting anything content-based, because whenever a woman is intellectual or smart, she knows it all.
Yeah,
you know, I don't need her in my life. You know, all of
And
that.
here's a
nonsense.
recent thing that actually happened in my job.
And like, for
But then
example,
now, hold on. The reason I'm saying recent things happening, what do you think actually takes that off to actually take place like a few years ago? Because this is actually happening. But then it's been happening for the past 10 years to 15 years.
You know,
what do you think was the beginning source of that
with
from
me,
social media platforms?
like, okay,
in terms of
since
misusing of it.
when I did digital marketing, and there's this thing called algorithms. So with algorithms, it's like you set a bunch of code, right? And you're going to show what appears at the top first and what appears at the bottom later, you know? So in setting those algorithms, you set a certain code to determine a certain thing. So now what's happening, it's a case of where you're going to go on Instagram. If you go to a guy's account, what's the first two things you're going to see? Okay, three things. The first three things you're going to see is a car,
woman?
money, money, cars, and jewelry. First thing. When you go to a woman's profile, you're going to see half-naked pictures, right? That's the algorithm that's been set, and that's what gets more likes. So it's more likely to be at the top. Back in a few years ago, Instagram used to work in a way where the latest posts, whatever someone posts, shows first, right? Now you get posts that you post something today, it's going to show up probably 3 days later. If you post probably a half-naked picture, it's most likely going to appear very quickly. because it's generating more likes because it's right at the top. As soon as it's posted, it's there.
Do you feel as if we're in control of that? And if you say no, yes, do you feel as if as people in general who have a phone, well, it's been programmed as an algorithm and all the social platforms to use?
We are in control. Like, you can choose not to like that picture. You can choose to pass by there and actually go do something with a bit more content.
But that's a sense of emotion, sense of feeling, in terms of mental wise. What are the thoughts behind the process?
And social media is the cause of men are trash. Because just for I'm sharing with
You know,
just because when on Facebook a grant, a shot, I know, it's going you know.
There's a question that I want to ask. Why are we like that? Why do you go on social media, and then you're just like, okay, cool, I want to
message
I might get on with it, and then you're just like, you know,
But this goes back to the same.
how we were raised as kids. We were taught to believe that
yeah.
So now it becomes second nature.
It's already second nature.
It's already-
Even even to us, it's second nature. When you see when you see a woman, what's the first thing you look at?
Oh, it's the body.
Exactly.
The body.
You're gonna look at the body. It
Just
becomes
means-
such a second nature.
You remember this meme that was
Another thing is
this meme that was trending with it on like your lashes and your eyebrows, but in it is easy.
yeah.
That was like
you know that isn't a bad thing.
Yeah, I
You
know, it's
like
the question.
us being people who look like when you see a woman, you look at her body, you look at that. That's not a bad thing. We've made it a bad thing. No, it's not sexual. We've made it a bad thing. I feel like if you're doing something because it's your role as a man,
You're wrong.
You're wrong, yeah.
do something because you want to.
You want to.
And she must do something because she wants to, not because she feels obligated because she's a girlfriend and all that. Yeah, but
And
that's where the whole thing of now, if you've got a role as a man, how are you going to stop thinking about patriarchy if I have a role as a man? But already that causes a separation. And so with my partners, it's just
So this includes the males and
Transaction,
to
basically.
women's bodies.
yeah, that's what it is.
That's what it is.
you know, one thing I can show you, do not do as a man, do not do indoor something you wouldn't do in front of your mom and your grandma. You know, not that like we old now. Your mom and your grandmother, they want you to have a partner. They want you to eventually get married. They want you to be able to approach me on the but you won't go and look at someone's ass or boobs in front of them, you know.
Like in front of.
Yeah, like you won't mistreat another woman in front of them. So if we see one, you know, you wouldn't. Do not go for a lady you wouldn't want to introduce
At home.
at
Wouldn't
home.
bring home.
Otherwise, you're wasting your time. Yeah,
So
well,
you're saying
You know what the other biggest thing is?
Yeah.
I think it's a sense of let's see, how can I put this?
So just say
About that whole looking at women as a wife material, you know that sort of thing. You know, like into a I don't think it's a problem.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a problem because I don't understand that.
Yes.
The difference is with them now, the way they go about. They're both saying as guys, we don't even think about the fact that women look at us because they do it in a respectful way. Yabo? And thina sijabulile. Yabo bethi uzodlula mhlawumbe icherry la. Sengiyaqala ke mina. What is this? You know, that's where you get the problem starts. That's where the problem starts.
Yeah.
Because manje yabona bethu, you can look at as a guy. Yabona bethu normally
Keep it low.
normally you're the best guy in the world. You don't do anything wrong. You come and man. Inkinga is your thought process after you.
But I think that's where last start. The first time uqala ubona umuntu okay uzothi umile kahle and then the more uspend isikhathi naye lapho uthando luzoba khona. So uma uqala umbona vele uzomhalela. mina uzospenda isikhathi naye every now and then uthando liya
Uyabona sona ukuthi
from
yeah,
so ubona izinto ezichaza from yena.
Yeah.
Besides, that's where love starts.
From mentorship, it's like uyabuka ne sofika sibuka, and then there's the option yakho leyo ukuthi uthando liqala lapha, and then there's a second option yokuthi uyam-objectify. No, uyam-objectify straight sumbukela ucansi yabo. That's not wrong, that's not wrong leyo eshoyo. But then if uza ngale ndlela leyo objectify yabo, that's where it becomes wrong. Leyo eshoyo wena is totally right, which is my point exactly ukuthi ukubuka is not a problem, because inkinga iqala masubuke wenzani-ke masuqeda ukubuka. What do you do after that? Musumgumula sewuyisoka.
So,
Later what do you do?
yeah. So let's conclude this. That's what you want to say about this.
So what you just saying, my cousin, umuntu akashade naye today was umuntu ambona behambile beyomshado nathi ufuna umhlaba nosisi. But befika endlini bafika they started talking. Yonke into ukuthi ngifuna umhlaba yaphela, and they started building a characteristic yokuthi bazane. And all this trash things, what I'm getting from everyone is that when we look at ourselves,
No, so women's bodies,
and we look at ourselves, how we are raised, it goes back to the psychological part of a person. Because if I was raised in an abusive home, and I was raised in a place where my father was abusive to my mother, my father was a drug alcoholic, slept with many girls, that same thing is being programmed like an 8-year-old person, because from 1 to 7 you are at the stage where you the most important stage of a person. You learn things and you capture things, and your memory captures everything. So you grow up wanting to do the same thing because you saw what your father was doing and you thought it was right, because you are not set down and taught the correct way of doing. So that then becomes a problem to us when we are growing up, because we are no longer in a state where we want to learn, but our minds are already programmed that this is how men are. And this is how men will behave. Because we are programmed since we are little. We are not taught to treat people right. We program ourselves through what we look.
What do you think may be the solution to fix these things? Not probably sometime for Arjun.
Yeah.
The first steps we can probably take.
Dude, the thing is, the first
You
step.
cannot tell umuntu on a date how to behave.
Exactly.
No, obviously I'm saying it for us. I'm saying, but understand.
It's a respectful thing.
I do have one point,
For the
firstly,
generation, come on.
we are future fathers and future husbands. Yeah, bro. As much as it's like late to change now, at the moment, by then, I said, our offsprings would born now. Now, it's our responsibility to train them and guide them to become better men. As you said, from the age of 1 to 7, that's the most important age of your life. Me now, I would make sure my son spends less time in preschool, whereas Uzotata other behaviors, because you're not gonna say raise your son the same way I'll raise my son. If I don't want my son to be like future trash, I'm gonna try homeschooling for my son from the first 7 years, and teach him with the iPad as a man.
And do you agree with this, right?
Locking up your child at home, but I do think that it is up to us to lead by example. Our generation, I've read that our generation is the most social conscious generation that has ever existed. There's nothing that we fight more for feminism, for homophobia, for equality in the workplace, for all genders, races, and all of that jazz. So I think it's up to us to lead by example.
So I remember you stating, I think it was yesterday or the day before, you were talking about the system in the in China or Japan.
Oh yeah,
for the youngsters within the first 3 years of the school.
Yeah,
What are the first 3 main points of it again?
In the first 3 years of
From the infant to growing up.
Chinese school. No, I mean like primary school stage.
Primary school, okay.
Yeah. For the first 3 years of school, Chinese kids are taught manners, respect, and discipline.
How can we introduce that into our...
Yes, and keep in mind that we already like 25, and we behave the way we behave. We weren't shaped into behaving the way, like we weren't really.
I think every day when you wake up, you gotta understand that every decision that you make opens up a path in your life. So you can see this woman that's walking down the street, but you can make a conscious effort not to sexually objectify the woman. You know, you can see a woman at work, and you can make the conscious effort not to have misogynistic thoughts and think maybe if you're sitting in a boardroom with a woman, oh no, she's speaking, women generally don't know anything, and all of that, you know? Yeah.
Besides the points you've raised regarding this whole situation discussion, what else do you think may cause these things to actually take place?
You know, the thing is that you can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Yes.
That's you know, that's the root cause of the whole problem. Because now you're 25, nah? You've got this whole thing that you would, hey, I'm way too old to be learning new things. That's what you're already telling your mind, and your mind is already accepting that. Because it takes 21 days to form a habit, right?
First of all,
it takes 21 days. Okay.
First of all, I'm 23. Second of all, let us change that mentality of old dogs can't learn new tricks.
Yeah, because that's the whole. You know, there's one thing, like the moment you say you won't, you're just making sure you never will. That's how your mind.
That's an affirmation to your mind, to subconscious mind.
It's like you know it's a funny thing. It's like the saying we use: money doesn't grow on trees. Where does money grow?
Dude,
money grows on trees. It grows from trees. You know, but what I'm trying to show you is that how naive as people we are. We're naive, we're stupid. We don't question our beliefs. That's the first thing we do. We don't question our beliefs to the core. We can believe in something, but then ask later to talk about it. You can't back it up. That's the kind of people we are. Yeah, but that just that whole money doesn't grow on trees just shows that we don't question things.
Yeah.
How many campaigns are there related to fix to solving these kind of problems?
Yo, please.
Please.
You have to go to the government. You want to open a business, go to the government. You want to go to school, go to the government first. You want to get married, go to the government first. So everything, every major life decision about your life that you need to make, it needs to be approved by government first, right? Which means you live in a systemized way, right? And the system, the way it's set, it's very hard changing that while we're still living in such a full-on patriotic system. Yeah. So the only real changes we can make are personal, right? Because now, when you look at this, you look at non-consent rape. Non-consent rape, where does it stem from? Male privilege. It stems from finances. It stems from feeling the need to overpower someone. Yeah, well, what do all those things have in common? The system we brought up. Same about the system. We are living the system. We're not just living it or protecting it, man. Because we are the system. What the system taught us to live, that's what we're doing now. We're repeating the same cycle. Because now, when you pay for something, you feel entitled to own it. When the government pays for something, they feel entitled to own it. So everything that the government does, that we are doing. But we don't even notice that because it's such a second nature. So in the case, the only way you can really look at it is when you look at the system is raping us and we don't have a choice. And we accept that, right? And we try and live and while accepting those terms and conditions that we living and trying to thrive in a system that oppresses us, that's raping us. So take now that perspective and put it on a woman. The woman is us now. And we are the system. That's how you see how bad we are and how bad the system is. Because the patriarchy is formed on men. It's deeply rooted on men. So it doesn't. Government doesn't ever. It rarely asks for permission from us. So it comes to channels, and you're going to do this. If you don't do this, you're going to jail. Just like men who feel entitled to women. You want to do this. Or you know, it's always we're creatures of habit. So when you look at something at a system that rules us and the way we behave, there's a consistency. It's the same thing.
It's the same thing. The similarity makes sense.
But let's say, look at service delivery government, for example. I use that as an example just to show you about. They'll give you what they feel like you need. They'll never ask you what you need. They'll give you what they think is good for you, which is what rapists do. I'm a rapist too. They don't care about your opinion. Like they do what they feel you deserve. Khona umuntu ozofika athi ashele ingane, yabo? Ashele ingane. Imgabe, yabo? Ingamqondi leyo ngane. Uthe yona yazovika igrade. You get guys like that who will say, it's that same mentality where mungatholi into efunayo, you want to convict
Wait, also
you want something bad to happen. So unaleyo mentality ukuthi something bad must happen to umuntu ongenzi into eshoyo, which is government mentality.
No, it's not the government. You just
umuntu wakhe yabo ngenxa yokuthi mhlawumbe ngiyafika akekho imuti no matter how ngizama ngifundela imuti
That's entitlement.
and wena ufu yabo and then for the fact ukuthi akavumanga suyamreport so kunalawo ama situations okay
I want to say I'm feeling a bit defensive, and I was like, the thing about rape that I don't like is that we're always trying to teach women not to get raped, but we never deal with the psychosis of the man and teaching them that rape is bad. You know, that is why I do not like talking about rape. Somehow, whenever a woman says they're raped, some part of the blame also has to fall on her.
Yeah.
Why were you at that place? Why were you wearing that? Why were you doing this? You know? Millie.
fuck
You know? I cannot talk about rape until we point out that we're always teaching women not to get raped, self-defense classes, all of that jazz, but we're never teaching man about how rape is just such a disgusting act.
no or babefuli yabo because izinto nathi senzela kuthini and yet asikwazi ukukhuluma ngazo and two mangathiwa le nto ngiyithatha ngiyise police station and you know what
You're laughing at it.
yabo so leyo mqondo lo ngiyafisa ukuthi sikhulume ngalo nto ukuze because aswazi ama situations mhlawumbe kusazokwenzeka eningi nje wasikhulisa nengane kuzokwenzeka yabo ukuthi ibe ku relationship where izibona ukuthi ngiyayenza into ngoba ngifuna satisfy umuntu wami but akusekho comfortable
Just that thing cool.
yabo ungakhuluma naye but kwesesikhathi mangiza kuwena ukuthi uzongihleka uzongibona as ngiweak no but amajita react endlini efanayo uzongibona as if weak or cheese ball yabo oh I know the simple way to say I'm gay yabo a cheese boy is they would say
I think it's everything what's deemed as umchitha waselokishini isn't.
sorry
Yeah.
Yonke into that's deemed umchitha waselokishini akangeyona.
Noma umhlali lokushika uhlukile kwamanye ama
Yeah, that's mungayona the expectation because it doesn't even have to be about imali. Like yabo mina like for me mina ngihlale lokishini ngihlale rugby. I was one of the few people babedlala rugby lokishini. Ngizo cheese boy. So that's yabo which is even ngendlela engicabanga ngayo yabo uthola ukuthi ekusema cheese. Hlala mina ngifuna ukuhlala nalezi ngane shock grand. Ngisayendlini cheese.
So, cheese boy.
Cheese boy.
Yeah.
Even namantombazana.
#Men are trash. A hashtag that has caused a lot of controversy in South Africa since 2016. Is this the real truth about South African men? Things like rape, robbery, abuse, and abandoned children made this hashtag even more real. There is so much pain, pressure, and fear that comes with this hashtag. Truth is, men have used their physical strength to get away with a lot. Culture has shielded men in some ways and gave them certain powers. The way in which children raised by single mothers speak about their fathers is certainly scary. They've labeled their fathers as monsters, cowards, and all sorts of names. Young women have committed suicide due to their very own boyfriends. Let's not forget the young men who abused their partners because they saw their fathers abusing their mothers. We still have a long way to go as a society. Everything begins at home. If we can start dealing with stereotypes at home and raise kids that believe in gender equality and respect each other, we would have made a difference. From Durban with love, Sisonke Shabangu.